T.I., the self-declared king of the South, is currently embroiled in one of the most significant scandals of his career, but it has nothing to do with his music. His son's supposed sexual orientation is the subject of rumors, and T.I.'s adamant stance has many wondering if the family is disintegrating.
When I was coming up, I had to get up, get out, and create opportunities, get in rooms, make people see why I should be where everyone else is.
In the hyper-masculine world of hip-hop, how does a legendary rap artist who has established his name on swagger and toughness respond to rumors that could ruin his career?
That ain't for us. That ain't for us. That ain't for us, you know? No.
You won't want to miss this tale, which includes startling industry disclosures and the internal conflicts that threaten to split T.I.'s family. It concerns Messiah, one of T.I.'s 2 eldest sons, and the decisions he made, or those were made for him, about his appearances on the reality program. Tiny and T.I., the family work fans, were given an insight into the lives of the Harris family at the beginning of the show. But as the seasons went on, viewers began to notice something strange about Messiah in Demon T. The internet was ablaze with theories when the 2 oldest sons appeared to disappear from the show. One especially delicious rumor said that T.I. didn't want one of his sons on TV because he is apparently gay, but is this true? To comprehend the circumstances, first let's review our current knowledge. An offer of a large salary, reportedly $85,000 to remain on the show, was declined by a man who is pursuing a career in music. Yes, that's a lot of money to turn down. $85,000. VH1 even offered Domani a more limited role according to T.I., so he could only make a few appearances and still get paid. But Domani turned it down once more. Why, therefore, would a teenager refuse such a sum of money? In a No Jumper podcast interview, Demon gave his own explanation of this. He claimed that while he first enjoyed being on the show as he got older, he came to the realization that he wanted to concentrate on developing his own career and identity, rather than becoming well-known only as T.I.'s son or a reality TV personality.
At the time, I was very excited. I wanted to
watch TV, so you're
right.
like, I get to be on TV?
Exactly.
All right, yeah.
I get to be on TV. But then I started realizing that I cared more about how they know me, you know? So it was just time, to just branch out and do my own thing, focus more on me.
It makes perfect sense. Damon made his choice because he wanted to forge his own path, and he is doing just that. It had nothing to do with secrets or family strife. J. Cole himself is mentoring Mon, who has been making waves in the music industry. This young man obviously understands what he's doing, but what about the oldest son of Messiah, T.I.? Some believe there is a more nuanced history behind his absence from the show. Let us investigate the rumors. There were speculations on TikTok that Messiah was in a same-sex relationship and that some indecent images were posted, which is why T.I. didn't want him on TV. According to the article, T.I. allegedly believed that Messiah's appearance on the show would damage his reputation. It sounds scandalous, doesn't it? The problem is that there is no proof to support this. Messiah had always kept to himself. He focuses on his work as a blues musician and rarely discusses his relationships or personal life. To be honest, we have no idea if he is homosexual, straight, or something else. He has never spoken out about it, and that is his right. Everyone has the right to privacy, particularly when it comes to something as intimate as sexual orientation. Another explanation is that the Messiah's absence from the show was primarily due to practical considerations. Messiah was in college when the show was filmed. Given how busy college is for everyone, let alone someone attempting to avoid attention, it's easy to assume that he just didn't have the time or want to participate.
I feel restricted being under my parents' roof for so long, So I'm looking forward to having my own place because I'm ready to see what it has to offer. I just yearn for the experience.
Let's now discuss the wider picture. Their son's sexual orientation would likely be the least of their concerns among the many scandals that surround T.I. and Tiny. Due to much more significant concerns, this family has been the subject of accusations, court cases, and public scrutiny. It's difficult to think that this would be the thing that T.I. was truly attempting to conceal about his son. It's also important to remember that Messiah and Demon were raised differently than other of their siblings. In addition to being their talent manager, T.I.'s ex-girlfriend and her husband are Lash and Dixon, their mother. Messiah and D-Man may not have had as much screen time on the show because they appear to have lived with their mother the majority of the time. In contrast, Zona and King were more important members of the family and lived with Tiny. In any case, dynamically depicted on television, the family hustle immediately gained popularity after debuting on VH1. Fans enjoyed seeing the playful, loving dynamic between T and Tiny, the power couple at the center of the show, and their kids brought a blend of humor, charm, and personality to the screen.
Do any of you know why we're here?
Kinda. A little bit.
Let's go with the kinda. I'm gonna go with the kinda.
From the get-go, the show wasn't just about flashy lifestyles or flaunting wealth. It highlighted family values, struggles, and the relatable ups and downs of marriage and parenting. As popular as the show was in its early days, things started to change over time, leaving fans perplexed. For instance, the lively dynamic between Time and her friend, Sheena Joe, was a big part of the show's appeal. Shekinah was funny, outspoken, and brought a lot of energy to the episodes. So when she suddenly stopped appearing, fans noticed, and rumors started swirling about a fallout between her and Tiny. The show felt genuine. It wasn't overly scripted or fake as some reality TV can be, and viewers admired how the couple handled their issues openly, even when there were rumors of infidelity or disagreements. However, the show never addressed it directly. Next, T.I.'s son D-Man quietly left. Fans loved watching his artistic and laid-back personality shine on screen. But when he did, they felt a void in comparison to Messiah's departure. Unlike Diani Messiah's absence barely affected public conversations. It seemed as though he simply disappeared without anyone noticing. This led to speculation that there might have been more going on behind the scenes, especially when unverified rumors about his sexuality and personal life started to circulate online. Everything changed when Sabrina Peterson, a former friend of T and Tiny, came forward with serious allegations, starting a firestorm that would redefine the couple's public image. On January 25, 2021, Peterson shocked social media by accusing TII of once holding her at. During a confrontation with one of his assistants, she threatened to shoot her kids.
Your husband put a gun to my head after me looking out for you on several occasions. You are the battered woman. I'm saying you're the woman that's always somewhere crying.
According to Peterson, this assistant treated Tiny like a slave, which increased tension even more. However, the post was later removed. Given how serious Peterson's charges were, there was an instant response to the claims. Tiny didn't hesitate to answer. She posted a picture of T.I. with Peterson's son on January 26th, replying dismissively that he was just uncle. She wrote 2 years ago to ask Peterson to stop harassing their family and to examine the timing of her assertions. Tiny's post was moved. Peterson was not going to back down, despite the narrative's brief portrayal of him as a bitter former friend with dubious intentions, by disclosing a string of purported direct messages from more than 24 people. 2 days later, Peterson intensified the conflict. According to these texts, T.I. was accused of forcing its victims to strip, take drugs, and have intercourse against their will. Potential drug-facilitated attacks may have occurred because some victims reported losing consciousness and waking up with memory loss. By January 29th, what had begun as an individual charge had grown into a significant scandal involving several claimed victims. In a public statement, T and Tiny felt obliged to refute the egregiously heinous accusations. They also talked about their past with Peterson, implying that they had been at odds for 10 years. T vehemently defended himself in an 8-minute video that he posted on Instagram, saying that everything he and his wife had ever done was agreeable and involved grown-ups who shared our interests. However, his remarks did little to stop the indignation from spreading. As a result of the seriousness of the accusations, MTV quickly announced on February 5th that it was stopping production on Tiny Friends and Family Hustle and T.I. This action demonstrated that the issue was now affecting the couple's work lives and was not just a topic of social media rumors. On behalf of 11 other accusers, Peterson's attorney Tyrone A. Blackburn wrote letters to Georgia and California law enforcement asking for criminal investigations a few days later. Some of the alleged drugging and threats described in the claims are remarkably similar and reportedly took place over a 10-year period. One especially disturbing story included a 17-year-old T.I. intern in a small studio in 2006. Tiny allegedly gave the youngster medication and drink, which caused her to faint, according to the letters. The woman said that an accomplice of Tiny's reportedly gave her a morning-after pill after she woke up in pain and bleeding. These specifics gave the developing controversy even more seriousness by evoking parallels to other well-known instances of purported abuse in the entertainment sector. By February 28, the New York Times published an investigation supporting the claims of 5 accusers, verifying their accounts with images and text messages. This development put T.I. and Tiny under much more scrutiny and gave the accusations more legitimacy. A day later, Peterson sued the pair for defamation, saying that their public denials and charges of lying had hurt her business and reputation. The court case became increasingly complicated as the months went by. After filing a thorough police report in April, the Los Angeles Police Department stated in May that it was looking into the pair for drugging. However, on May 18th, the Las Vegas Police Department announced it had closed a case against T.I. and Tiny because the alleged incident occurred in 2010, outside the state's statute of limitations for SAA. Throughout, the couple remained innocent, and in June 2021, Ty even released a song about what had happened.
In the fire, I reside like the money do. To try wearing wise at the rendezvous.
Peterson allegedly offered to abandon her defamation action in exchange for an apology, according to the audio in the music video. This action rekindled conversations about the couple's alleged misbehavior, but it was also perceived by others as a planned attempt to change public perception, citing California's statute of limitations. Los Angeles prosecutors declared in September 2021 that they will not be filing charges against T.I. and Tiny for an alleged 205 incident. The dispute persisted in spite of this. Years later, in October 2023, Peterson faced a setback when a judge ruled she must pay over $96,000 to cover T.I. and Tiny's legal fees after dismissing several of her claims in the defamation case. But in January 2024, the matter took a different course when a civil action was brought by an anonymous accuser under California's look-back provision, which permits claims to temporarily avoid statutes of limitations. The lawsuit included graphic claims, such as that Tiny restrained her while T attacked her with his toes. The Harrises reacted angrily, accusing the plaintiff of trying to extort them for 3 years and denying any wrongdoing. The accuser claimed that she was drugged by T.I., and Time in 2005, after meeting them in a nightclub while serving in the U.S. Air Force, Blackburn Peterson's attorney, has hinted that additional legal action may be in the works utilizing the look-back law, which is still in effect until 2026. As a result of Peterson's allegations, a number of other people came forward with comparable charges, and the media took off abruptly. In addition to becoming reality stars, T and Tiny were at the heart of a developing scandal that threatened to eclipse all other VH1 and MTV content. The network decided to halt production on the show, citing the need to gather more information. At first, this seemed like a temporary move, a way to let things cool down while the truth came to light. But as more accusations surfaced, it became clear that this wasn't going to be resolved anytime soon. It was a shocking decision for fans, especially since the show had just been renewed for another season, but from the network's perspective, it was the safest move. This was a PR nightmare. The family hustle had been built around T.I. and Tiny's image as a loving, relatable couple, but these allegations threatened to permanently tarnish that image. Even though the accusations weren't directly related to the show, the decision to cancel Family Hustle was made to protect the networks. Reputation reality TV is a lucrative industry, and networks like VH1 and MTV must be cautious about the stars they partner with. If you're running a firm and one of your major projects suddenly becomes controversial and starts receiving poor news, you have to decide if it's worth the risk to continue. The negative press around T.I. and Tiny made it hard for the network to proceed further. The response for VH1 was no. Despite its popularity, the Family Hustle was their best-performing program, They probably considered the advantages and disadvantages and concluded that it wasn't worth risking their reputation for a show that, despite its fan base, wasn't setting box office records, and there's the timing problem. After 6 seasons, the show's popularity has begun to decline. While the early seasons were interesting and novel, several viewers thought the plots were becoming cliched by the later seasons. The marital problems between T.I. and Tyne, which had previously been an engaging aspect of the show, started to become more of a diversion. For T and Tiny, the family-centric narrative that first made the show so successful was overshadowed by suspicions of infidelity and conflict. Their show's cancellation was a huge setback. They had promoted their other businesses and showcased their family on The Family Hustle. Losing the show meant losing more than just their income. It meant losing their ability to direct their story and engage with their audience. The allegations also had a wider impact on T.I. and his career as they continue to work on music and other projects. The scandal has cast a shadow over their public image. Fans who once admired their openness and authenticity, now viewing them with skepticism. Meanwhile, the public will undoubtedly continue to watch, scrutinizing every move and seeking answers regarding whether these claims are true or false. T.I. publicly criticized VH1 for their decision, arguing that the allegations were unproven and that canceling the show was unfair. He expressed frustration that the network didn't give them a chance to clear their names before doing so. There is little doubt that this story is far from over. Anyway, everyone that concludes this video, goodbye.